Hey guys, what's going on? This is Seth from retipster.com. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about 7 unconventional ways to make $1,000 per month from vacant land. All right, so if you know anything about me, you probably already know I'm a land investor by trade. And really my whole strategy behind land investing is to find vacant lots that are dirt cheap and buy them for almost nothing and then turn around and resell them for a profit. And this is surprisingly not that difficult to do if you know where to look. Essentially what we're doing is we're getting very specific lists of highly motivated sellers who own vacant land. And we're reaching out to these people through direct mail and really just making them very low offers to buy their property. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people are not interested, but all you need is a small percentage of these people to say yes. And the nice thing about vacant land is that in most cases, people do not have this deep emotional attachment to the property because it's not the roof over their head, it's not the roof over anybody else's head. It's literally just a plot of dirt that nobody's using and in their minds, nobody wants. And that's your opportunity to jump in there and offer them cash in exchange for relieving them of the burden of property ownership. So you're essentially giving them an easy button to get this property out of their life. It's really just a numbers game, and when you reach out to enough people to do this, you might be surprised at how many amazing deals you can get on vacant land. And once you own a property, free and clear, that you've paid almost nothing for, it's not hard to turn around and sell that either with seller financing or just an outright cash sale that can generate far in excess of $1,000. Another really creative way to make over $1,000 a month from land is something that not a lot of people think about, and that is through Airbnb. And with Airbnb, it's not that difficult to list your property for other people to pay you money for and essentially rent from you by the night. And all you have to do is put some kind of residence on the property. This could be an RV, it could be a pop-up trailer, it could be a tiny house. And personally, I think the idea of tiny houses is really cool. It's not just something that I'm kind of fascinated by, but really it's all about the novelty behind it. And a lot of people out there just think it's really cool to stay in this tiny little house that's very thoughtfully designed. And especially if they're just staying there for a night or two, it's a pretty easy way to take the land you already have, add this improvement to it, which does not have to be affixed to the ground. It can literally just be on wheels, so you can take it on and take it off the property whenever you want. But as long as you have some kind of residence there, people will literally pay you by the night to stay in that property. I think this works particularly well if it's in the right season and if your land is anywhere near a place of interest, whether it's by the water, a local attraction, or a place where people will travel from a long ways away to stay there. You could make your land a very viable alternative to a person staying in a boring old hotel. This method of monetizing your land tends to be rather seasonal because usually there's certain times of the year when people are more interested in this kind of vacation use. But if you're in the right season and if you've got an ideal location, this can be a great way to extract some monthly cash flow out of your property. Another cool way to use your vacant lot, and this is something that doesn't even cross most people's minds, is to convert your lot to a parking lot. And this kind of thing can work if your land is anywhere within walking distance of a local attraction that attracts lots and lots of people. One example that comes to mind, a friend of mine owned a bunch of vacant lots in inner city Detroit, which at first glance you might think, why in the world would anybody want to own land in a place like that? But it was within walking distance of Comerica Park and Ford Field. And it wasn't hard to make over $1,000 per night from each one of these lots simply because people were looking for a place to park that was within walking distance of these local attractions. So if you've got any kind of a vacant lot that's near a place of interest like that, consider using it for parking. You don't have to do anything to it. You can just leave it as is and allow people to drive on and off the property. Another idea that you could use your vacant lot for is for self-storage. Say if you've got a property that's like more than an acre or two in size, and obviously if your local zoning will allow for it, you can allow people to park their outdoor storage right on your property, whether that be RVs or boats or cars or anything that doesn't necessarily need a roof over its head, that you just need a place to park it. That's a great way to monetize your property. And again, what I love about this idea is that you really don't have to do hardly anything. I think in some cases it might make sense to like put up a fence around the property, but even then, that's not a very difficult or expensive thing to do, especially if it can justify you making thousands per month from those minor improvements to the property. Something else that vacant land can be extremely useful for is a place for a person to put their mobile home. Now, similar to all the other uses we're talking about, it's important that the property is actually zoned for this purpose or you're not going to be able to do it. But there's a lot of properties out there where it's completely fine to go ahead and park a mobile home there. And typically when you do this, you can either charge monthly rent to the person who owns that mobile home, or you can sell the thing outright to them. And in a lot of cases, you can sell it with seller financing and collect monthly payments from the person who's buying it from you. And in either case, a lot of these properties are more than enough to justify $1,000 or more per month if you get the right one and if you sell it at a price that's going to be able to monetize on that level. So if your property can be used with mobile homes, definitely consider this as an option. Another great hands-off method to make some serious money with land is to lease your property out to a local utility company. And what I'm talking about here is things like solar power and wind power. And this kind of thing makes a lot more sense in some parts of the world than in others. I'm not going to say that this is going to be feasible everywhere, but if you're in an area that has a very high wind velocity on a year-round basis, or if you've got property that has long-term exposure to sun year-round, say if you're in like Arizona or California or something like that, this can be an awesome way to either put those energy generating devices on your property, or better yet, find a utility company that's looking for this kind of property and let them lease the land from you. And that way they will come on and do all the improvements, they'll handle all the maintenance. You don't have to do anything, and they'll pay you a pretty hefty chunk of change on an ongoing basis for leases that span a long time. I know one person in particular who has a 50-year lease with a cell phone company of all things, and that lease pays her over $21,000 a year. And it's a very small portion of the property. Again, she does nothing to it. All they do is use the land for the purposes that they need, and she collects rent revenue from that. It's a pretty cool setup. Along those same lines, another way you can use a vacant lot, specifically if it's located anywhere near a major stretch of highway or a busy road, and if it's zoned commercial, is to lease your land out to an outdoor advertising company. And this is basically just those big billboards you see on the side of the road. And again, you don't have to do anything. They will come and construct the billboard on your property, and they'll maintain it and then pay you ongoing lease revenue for this. And really all you're doing is you're allowing them to use the dirt and the space that just happens to be in a pretty desirable location for this specific purpose. So definitely, if you've got a property that has a lot of visibility from any kind of a major road, this is something you should probably look into if you're looking to make some ongoing, easy revenue from your property. Another really cool, hands-off way that you can monetize your land is to lease it out to any kind of a farmer. And this kind of thing, again, makes a lot more sense in some situations than others, but we're talking like pretty much any kind of farm, whether they're growing vegetables or fruit or any kind of crops, or even something like a tree farm where they don't necessarily need a ton of land, they just need fertile ground where they can grow these trees and come and harvest them each year. This can be a great way to monetize your land in a way that does not require a whole lot of hands-on work from you. You can just collect the rent and then somebody else can come on there and do all the work. You're just providing the space for them to do that. And the nice thing about this one is that it doesn't create any kind of an eyesore for the surrounding area like a big tower or a billboard. It's really just like the natural resources growing out of the ground. Most people are not gonna have a problem with that. So if your land is located in an area where the climate is ideal and the soil is fertile and the property is big enough, this can be a great way to monetize your property. What I hope you're seeing through all these examples is that land can be extremely versatile. There's all kinds of ways that you can either monetize it or even use it for your own purposes if you're just looking for something that's kind of fun and interesting to do. All it takes is a little bit of creativity and inspiration and just recognizing opportunities that a lot of other people probably don't see. But if you're aware of what you can do in your area, given the zoning on your property and what the local surroundings will allow, land can be an amazing, outstanding investment and just an awesome place to put your money. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you found this interesting. I'll catch you later.